Hi, welcome to Compass Connection. My name is Kelly Beaudry, and I am a Special Programs Administrator here in Lincoln County School District. And today I have Officer Lekas here with me. We do a lot of work together in the school district, and so I thought it would be great for him and I to kind of talk about what that work looks like in our school district. So welcome, Officer Lekas. How are you today?
Great, thank you.
Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yes, so in 2008, I became a Newport police officer, and I worked through the city of Newport for 14 years. In 2018, I became the SRO for the Newport schools and enjoyed it, loved it. My role was more of an educational person, educating the kids or the youth over what the crimes were, what crimes are, how they work, so they had a better idea of really what not only what my job was, but it was a way to funnel them in a good direction. Mm-hmm. And from there, I loved it. We hit COVID, of course, and so that particular part went away. And 2.5 years later, a job opened up in the juvenile department, and that was my passion, was to work with kids. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up taking that job, and now I'm a probation officer with the juvenile department, and I absolutely love it. I get to continue my education with the youth in that direction as a proactive thing.
Yeah. And are you the only juvenile probation officer?
Nope, there is 2 of us.
Yeah, and so I know that we also work with Aaron Ferguson.
Yes.
And so the work that we do with you, I just wanted to kind of summarize that we have 3 main goals when we work with the juvenile department. That's to provide additional education to students about healthy behaviors, to provide some preventative services to students in small groups, and to provide some more intense intervention and support for individuals. So let's just break each one of those down a little bit. Starting with goal 1 of providing additional education to students about healthy behaviors. Can you just describe what that looks like?
So we started a group session where we're working with a group of kids each time, like the middle school and the high school. And it's based on the vaping, marijuana, and education prevention lessons. So we talk about, it's TMEC, we talk about marijuana, vaping, e-cigarettes, and the harm it can do to the body. And right now we're doing them in it's kind of an assembly. I think up to 24 kids, I think, is what we've decided for 90 minutes. But we're giving examples. We have a slideshow, so to speak, where they have a visual, plus then we get to talk about what they're seeing, and some quizzes too. Mm-hmm. But we're educating through this way. And it's not about the law, it's more about statistics, mm-hmm. factual based, and the harms.
And so that's something that we've been developing this year, and so far you've started it up at Taft.
Yes.
And the goal is what?
So the goal is to educate the students.
Great.
The goal is to get to understand the harms that can bring to them, to their bodies.
And so our hope is that we'll be able to do that across the county in the next school year.
Yes, we're looking at middle school and high school throughout the year, 3 times a year or 2 times a year per school, I believe.
Yeah, that'd be great. We hope so. Okay, great. So what about the second goal of providing preventative services to a smaller number of students?
So the school district or the school, what they do is they identify youth that have gotten into trouble. It could be behavior, it could be some kind of a drug, vaping, smoking, in that realm. And what they do is they give me the information, and I do a one-time talking to with them. I usually call the parents, see if they want to be a part of it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And then what we do is we sit down at a table, usually in a conference room, the youth and I and the parent, and we just talk about it. And it's an open discussion. It isn't me telling them how they broke the law and how it's against the law. It's me actually giving them what we do in our classes for vaping, marijuana, and cigarettes. It's more of a real quick talk about what it can do to the system, how harmful it is, and then we throw in a part about, well, this is what probation could look like if they had gone through the system like this. And so I want to educate them so they understand more, not just what they did, but what could happen if it continued. And educating the parents at the same time, I'd rather they be there, because if they understand what's going on and they understand what I'm seeing and what could happen, that could be another preventative measure in that youth's world.
And you specifically mentioned, like, if there was a drug violation, what other kinds of behaviors have you typically been talking with kids about besides drug or alcohol violations?
So if they have major behaviors within the school, it could be anywhere from physical unwanted contact, fighting, assaultive behavior, harassing behavior, bullying behavior. anything that would come to me, whether the citation or not from a SRO or an officer came, it's still a way for me to connect with them. So it's almost any major behavior that would happen within the school.
Great. Okay. And so then finally, let's talk about that third goal of providing some more intense intervention and support to students that maybe you already have in juvenile probation.
So it's great because the family knows who I am because they're already in probation. The youth already knows who I am. So what I do is I'm able to connect with them in the school. I'm in the schools anyway, so I roam the schools when I can, when I have the time. But most of the time when I'm there, I'm connecting with somebody on probation where we can sit down and have an actual good talk about what they're doing, where they've been, and where they're headed. And it isn't always the criminal aspect of it. It's just me checking in with them to see how they're doing, who their friend group is, how their grades are, what their attendance is like. And I usually ask them before I check the system. I want to hear from them what they're doing and where they're at. And that's important because I think that gives them that gives them more of an adult part of them, getting to be an adult, because you're giving them more responsibility. And when I'm talking to them about that, they have to converse with me and communicate with me with what they're doing.
What would be some of those topics that you would hope that we would be able in the future to develop to be able to provide education to parents?
We teach the parents their house, their rules, let them do as they're supposed to do as a parent. And that's one of the biggest topics that's worked really well in the past with them, because most of them don't understand. They think, oh no, it's their privacy. Not really. Sometimes the youth need to be brought back on track. And the best way to do that is to be in their business, to work with them. You don't have to work above them or below them, but work with them. Talk to them. Communication is key.
Well, I appreciate you being here and sharing with the community what you've been working on with us here in the school district, and just look forward to continuing our partnership.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Compass Connection. Stay tuned for next week. We'll have another great topic for you to learn more about what's going on in the school district.